It feels like just yesterday that Chelsea were Europe's boogeymen, a club forged in the image of Roman Abramovich, lavish spending, relentless ambition, and a ruthless obsession with trophies. 5 Premier League titles, 2 Champions Leagues, and a bulging trophy cabinet made Stamford Bridge the envy of Europe. But Abramovich's empire collapsed in 2022 when the UK government sanctioned the Russian oligarch after Russia invaded Ukraine, forcing him to put the club up for sale. The sale process ended with a consortium led by US financier Todd Boehly and investment fund Clearlake Capital paying about £4.25 billion, including £2.5 billion to a holding account and a further £1.75 billion committed to investment. Abramovich pledged that the proceeds would go to humanitarian causes. Still, the funds remain frozen due to sanctions, and a clause allows the new owners to hold back £150 million to cover potential fines. The new regime promised a data-driven revolution, but instead, Chelsea has lurching from kings to chaos. This is the story of how a private equity project dismantled a winning culture, splashed over £1 billion on transfers, and turned a serial winner into a club flirting with profit and sustainability (PSR) sanctions. Stick around, because there's a twist about an accounting loophole that may have saved them, for now. Alright, before we get into this, quick one. Yeah, I know. I kinda disappeared. Life got a bit hectic, things piled up, and I just couldn't stay consistent with the channel the way I wanted to. And I hate that, because this right here, this is what I actually enjoy doing. But listen, from now on, I do want to be regular with these storytelling videos again. That said, I'm gonna be honest with you. It kinda depends on you guys as well. If the videos perform, if you guys enjoy them, I'll keep dropping more of these deep dives. After almost 2 decades of success, Roman Abramovich's era ended not on the pitch, but in parliament. Following Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022, the UK government sanctioned Abramovich and froze his assets. Chelsea were granted a special license to operate, but could not sell tickets or sign players. To protect the club, Abramovich put Chelsea up for sale. The Boehly Clearlake consortium won a tight bidding process, paying £2.5 billion into a frozen holding account, with a further £1.75 billion pledge to invest in infrastructure. As we briefly mentioned at the start, the sale, completed in May 2022, ended Abramovich's 19-year reign and freed the club from government licenses. Crucially, the purchase agreement included a holdback clause, allowing the new owners to withhold £150 million to cover any fines or liabilities from Abramovich's era. That clause would soon come in handy. Todd Boehly and Clearlake promised to modernize Chelsea through analytics and long-term planning. In practice, this meant a transfer strategy unlike anything the Premier League had seen. Rather than paying for proven stars, Chelsea signed large numbers of young players on unusually long contracts. Under financial rules, transfer fees can be spread, amortized, over the length of a player's contract. By handing out 7- and 8-year deals, the owners could report lower yearly costs and still spend heavily. Some key deals include, heads up guys, a long list is coming right up. Raheem Sterling, £47.5 million fee. 4-year contract to June 2027. Kalidou Koulibaly, £33 million, contract until 2026. Marc Cucurella, £60 million, 6-year contract to 2028. Wesley Fofana, £70 million, 7-year deal to 2029. Mykhailo Mudryk, £88.5 million, rising to £89 million, 8.5-year contract to June 2031. Enzo Fernandez, British record £106.8 million, 8.5-year contract to 2031. In summer 2023, the spree intensified. Chelsea spent more than any club in Europe on a new crop of players. Moises Caicedo, £115 million from Brighton, 8-year deal with an option. In 2026, he even signed a new 7-year contract extension, showing Blueco's willingness to extend long deals. Christopher Nkunku, Nicholas Jackson, Romeo Lavia, Axel Disasi, Robert Sanchez, Leslie Ugochukwu, and Cole Palmer. By the end of 2023, Chelsea had spent over £1 billion on transfers since the takeover. While amortization spread the accounting cost, the cash flow impact was immense. UEFA eventually closed this loophole by capping amortization at 5 years, not retroactive, leaving Chelsea locked into their long contracts. The scattergun recruitment created a squad of over 33 senior players, far exceeding the Premier League's 25-man registration limit and the 17-player cap for overseas players. Journalists described training sessions resembling open auditions rather than cohesive preparations. Jamie Carragher warned that such a bloated squad makes it impossible to build team spirit. The logjam meant talented youngsters were loaned out, while high-earning signings competed for minutes. When injuries struck, managers had to constantly reshuffle, undermining consistency. Chelsea's trophy-hunting culture always had a quick trigger finger, but the Clearlake era has taken turnover to a new level. Here's the timeline. Thomas Tuchel, winner of the 2021 Champions League, dismissed in September 2022 after disagreements with Boehly and a poor start to the season. Graham Potter, appointed September 2022 with a long-term project in mind. Results nosedived, and he was sacked in April 2023 with the club 11th. Frank Lampard, returned as interim head coach for the run-in. Chelsea slumped further. Maurizio Pochettino, appointed May 2023 on a 2-year contract. He navigated a chaotic season to finish 6th in the Premier League and reach both domestic cup semi-finals, but he left by mutual consent on 21st May 2024. The club acknowledged his service, but moved on. Enzo Maresca, arrived in summer 2024. He won the Europa Conference League and FIFA Club World Cup, guiding the team back to the Champions League. But a run of 1 win in 7 league games and a deteriorating relationship with the board led to his abrupt exit on New Year's Day 2026. Maresca wrote that he had accomplished all he could. Callum McFarlane, the under-21 coach, took interim charge briefly before the club appointed Liam Rowe Sr., a surprise pick from Blue Co-owned Strasbourg. Announced on January 6, 2026, the 41-year-old signed a contract to 2032. He praised Chelsea's unique spirit and promised to reflect the club's values. Results, however, were disastrous. Chelsea recorded their worst goal-scoring drought in 114 years and lost 7 of 8 games. On 22 April 2026, the club sacked Rowe Sr. The statement thanked him, but admitted results had fallen below necessary standards. Callum McFarlane once again took interim charge. 7 coaches in 4 years illustrate not ambition, but institutional turbulence. Each new manager inherited a mismatched squad and a meddling ownership group. Continuity, the bedrock of sustained success, has vanished. All that spending had consequences. In April 2026, The Guardian reported that Chelsea posted a Premier League record pre-tax loss of £262.4 million for the year ending June 30th, 2025. Operating costs were sky high, and the club paid £65.1 million in agent fees for 2025 to 26. Under the Premier League's Profit and Sustainability Rules, PSR, clubs are only allowed cumulative losses of £105 million over 3 seasons. Chelsea stayed within the rules thanks to exemptions, spending on academy, women's team, infrastructure, and creative accounting. For example, selling their women's team to a related Blue Co entity for £200 million, thus registering a profit. However, the huge deficits mean the margin for error is slim. The owners were also forced to confront historical breaches from Abramovich's tenure. In March 2026, the Premier League fined Chelsea £10.75 million for undisclosed payments under Abramovich. The league imposed a 9-month academy transfer ban and gave the first team a 1-year transfer ban, suspended for 2 years. Because Chelsea self-reported and cooperated, they avoided a points deduction. The holdback clause from the sale covered the fine, but the episode was a warning. Another breach could trigger a points deduction. Meanwhile, the club must meet PSR requirements for the 2025-26 cycle. With revenues of around £490 million, but expenditures far higher, Chelsea's only realistic path is to sell players. Yet those long contracts make sales tricky. Other clubs know Chelsea needs to offload and will offer cut-price deals. Failure to balance the books could result in points deductions, as seen with Everton and Nottingham Forest in 2023-24. The specter of sanctions hangs over Stamford Bridge like a dark cloud. So how did a club, once defined by ruthless efficiency, become a case study in the business world? The answer lies in the clash between football culture and private equity logic. Clearlake's strategy treated Chelsea like a distressed asset. Load up on cheap, long-term commitments, flip players for profit, and trust data to guide decisions. But football isn't a spreadsheet. You can't quantify dressing room chemistry or the value of stability. In ripping up the club's institutional memory, letting go of savvy operators like Marina Granovskaya and Peter Cech, sacking managers every year and replacing experienced winners with speculative prospects, the owners undermined the very culture that delivered success. The results are plain: record losses, revolving door managers, an unbalanced squad, and the looming threat of sanctions. Even the most ardent Chelsea fans are asking whether the Boehly Clearlake project has a coherent plan. And that cliffhanger I mentioned? Remember that accounting loophole? The long contracts that spread transfer costs across almost a decade? UEFA has shut it. From now on, Chelsea can only amortize fees over 5 years. The bills will come due sooner, squeezing the club's finances even further. So what's next? Another manager? A fire sale of players? A PSR penalty? Only time will tell. What's clear is that Chelsea's chaos didn't happen by accident. It was engineered by owners who valued algorithms over experience. The club, once ruled by kings, now feels like a startup in crisis. And hey, if you made it this far, you clearly don't hate my voice. Hit that subscribe button to Snowball IQ for more deep dives into the wild world of football ownership. Because in this game, the stories off the pitch are often crazier than the 90 minutes on it.